guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I got a pretty entertaining email I sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he is 28 years old, and recently, as in like this week, he cut things off with his fiancée and kicked her out after discovering she's not exactly the girl he thought she was, or more like who he hoped she was. You're going to see that he met her while he was over in Europe. He's doing the whole backpacking things with his bros, having a good time, hooking up with chicks, and met her and instantly fell in love with her, or shall I say fell in love with her body and what she can do with her body, and decided to be a great idea to immediately propose to her. Yeah, the dumbest thing in the freaking world, proving you don't let your you-know-what do all your thinking. Well, anyhow, he discovers he really didn't know her that well, and then started to find out who she really was, and when finally enough was enough, kicks her to the curb. And although it's certainly many smackable moments in the story, it is an entertaining one, making the point. Don't let your second head down here, down south, do all your thinking, especially with women. Otherwise, you're going to pick the gals that may be physically beautiful and may temporarily take care of you in the bedroom, but you have no idea that they're rotten people. They're going to take advantage of you by take advantage of your heart, take advantage of your money, take advantage of your time, and I can go on here. You gotta be smart, you gotta take your time and all that. And of course, many other lessons along the way. You don't rush into things and stuff like that. But anyhow, our guy here knows this, and he has a sense of humor, so you'll find this definitely funny for today. So he starts off, says here, "Hello SSM. I'm a long-time viewer, but this is the first and hopefully the last time I have to write in with a personal situation. And I have to warn you, it gets a bit graphic. If you've been watching me for a while, then you ought to know darn well that you should not just meet some chick, instantly fall in love with her body, and propose to her. You nuts? But all this stuff goes out the door, guys, out one ear, out the other, when a guy gets mesmerized by a beautiful woman. It's crazy. Well, I'm going to cut to the chase here. I'm 28 years old, and I just found out that my fiancée, Agata, I guess how he says her name, she's 23, had an affair with her best friend at work. Affair with the best friend at work. Gee, that's never ever happened. I could have warned you. Gee, I think I warned you a few times about that through the stories about girls and having best friends. Well, let's get back to the beginning. I met my girl on a backpacking trip in Europe in the city of Krakow, Poland, where my boys and I enjoyed a few wild nights and some of the most beautiful women on earth. I'm not sure you heard, but Eastern Europe is like an adult candy shop for American men. Yes, I have heard that a few times. Anyway, I spent 3 of the best months of my life hooking up with Euro girls. Some were trashy, others were elegant, but all were 100% hotties. I mean, then he goes on here and says something kind of inappropriate I'm not going to say here, but he was on a pussy quest. I think he was less concerned with seeing the monuments and the castles and the cities and the food. He was enjoying a different type of cuisine. With that in mind, the last thing I expected was to fall in love. Smack! He didn't fall in love. He fell in lust. Even so, towards the end of my visit, I met the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. She was working at the youth hostel where I stayed and had the best, and I mean the best, rack I ever saw. Although all the other guys hit on her, I was the only one to get through. Probably because you're an American, and she probably thought, aha, cha-ching, my ticket out of here. Upon checkout, I left her a handwritten letter with my Instagram tag and a red rose. It says, SSM, the girl slipped into my DMs an hour later. We went on a date that night, and although she didn't let me go all the way, she did give me the best BJ ever. That was a real keeper. Well, so far, I have no problem with all this up to this point because you got a nice BJ out of it from a hot Polish chick with big tits. That's where it should have ended. Unfortunately, this is where everything you learned or by watching the videos here went one ear out the other. Well, when I flew back to America, I couldn't stop thinking about her. No, you couldn't stop thinking about that BJ. I must have been with several women that summer, but Agata was the one. So I did something crazy. I was thinking with the wrong head. I proposed to her over text. I know, smack. Smack, more like I should take a baseball bat out and start chasing after you with it. Are you nuts? Oh, whoopee, she has big tits. Oh, whoopee, she gave me the best BJ. Guess what? There's a lot of women out there with big tits and give good BJs, and you're not proposing to them. Come on. Oh, great. Did she have a great ass too? I hope so. Are you shitting me? You don't even know this broad. Well, she promptly accepted my proposal, and with that, we applied for the K-1 visa. No shit, Sherlock, because she wants to get out of Poland. Half a year later, we were setting up our home. Agata got a job at Walmart, and with my parents' help, I continued my education. Now, I'm not quite sure how long ago this was. I think it was maybe a year or two ago, so he would have been 26. And as great as everything was, from the outset, I noticed a few red flags. A few. For example, Agata was very erotic and sometimes almost hard to keep up with. But since she was from a very Catholic country, she was saving the main act of marriage, the main act for marriage. And this got old really fast. Yeah, those BJs weren't so great after a while when you want to do other things. Well, guess what? Agata here, however the fuck you pronounce her name. Anybody from Poland can tell me Agata. Agata? Agata comes up with a way to work around her little Catholic rules. He said, we did some taboo things via the backdoor access to make up for it, which was very exciting at first. However, after a while, the whole backdoor action lost its charm, as we had some domestic differences that made the backdoor action seem a bit gross. Let me explain. Well, we can certainly have a conversation about being gross before you even mention a lot of this stuff you're about to mention here. So I want to take a moment, a little time out here. So you guys have heard a lot of times through stories I've covered about gals that are quote-unquote saving themselves for marriage for their husbands. Well, newsflash, they find a way around that by other means. So you got 3 orifices. Well, one of them may remain pure, but the other 2 aren't, and right here. You see, living with a person from that part of the world was much more complicated than I expected. Imagine that. That's something you should have learned before you proposed to her and brought her back to the U.S. Agata had a scarcity mindset that led her to do things that were necessary to survive in her home country, but didn't make sense in America. Oh, elaborate, sir. For example, she insisted on saving water by only flushing the toilet once a day. And although I never participated in that idea, she wouldn't let it go. Sometimes I get home after a long day at school, and her morning leavings were stewing there all day. Ugh, that's disgusting. Yeah, the whole backdoor action doesn't seem very appealing now that you come home from fucking school and see a fucking, 7-inch loaf sitting in the toilet. She swore that was normal in Poland. But man, SSM, walking in there after she used the restroom didn't exactly help my attraction for her in the bedroom. Considering the types of acts we were limited to, this was a serious red flag. Yes, it was. I can only imagine the smell. God's sakes. We can all be conspiracy theorists and say maybe this was her way of making that you wouldn't want to sleep with her. When actually that's a bunch of bullshit. They don't do that in Poland. Anybody from Poland? Let me know if a lot of the locals let things stewing in the hopper to save money and water. Well, there are other things to note, such as she didn't brush or floss and occasionally failed to shave her armpits. Oral hygiene, hello? This is going to be your wife? I tried to explain to her that although those things are normal in Europe, they're considered gross by our standards. Also, and I'm ashamed to admit this, I didn't notice those things at the youth hostel when I first met her because I was so distracted by her unbelievable rack. There you go. Mesmerized by the titties. Well, you're not the first guy in history, so I won't fault you for that. But, yeah, you should have noticed Chewbacca's armpits there, for God's sakes. Even so, I was still into her physically, and I was determined to make the relationship work. I trusted in the idea that she would eventually assimilate, as so many had before her. And then everything fell apart when we decided to spend Christmas with her family. So we traveled back to her family in Warsaw this time, and I don't want to offend anyone, but it's hard even to describe what a shithole it is when you go there for any reason other from tits and ass. Well, I haven't been there, so I can't tell you. Remember the first time I went, I was thinking with my other head, but now I traveled there under different circumstances. I found the experience unbearable. Well, bro, you're not married to her yet, so you still have time. It's nothing more than a smoggy, run-down, miserable hellscape. Are you talking about Poland or the city of Krakow? Not to mention, we were staying in a cramped communist-era apartment with like 10 people and only one bathroom. And yes, I can verify that they really do only flush the toilets once a day there. Man, so the time to go to the bathroom there is after they do their daily flushing. That's when you go in, okay? And you don't want to be doing it at the end before the final flush. And if that's not bad enough, we bumped into Agata's old boyfriend, some skinhead football hooligan type. He came over to talk to my girl and crowded me in front of her. Oh, he's cock blocking you, huh? Showing his dominance. Agata was really nervous, and when I told the guy to back off, he said in broken English, "Fuck you, fuck," and don't come to Poland to make problems. You don't come to Poland to make problems. Then he paused, laughed, and asked me, "Does Agata suck your dick like everyone else?" Oh, so you're not that special. So she likes her skin lollipops. I was like, what the fuck? Agata broke down crying. Of course, see? They do it everywhere. Shouted at him in Polish, and we left. She told me it was her asshole boyfriend, and before she could say anything else, I shouted, "You blew that guy?" He sounded like Dante from Clerks. "You sucked that guy's dick?" He said, "Man, SSM, I wanted to leave her right then and there, but decided to sleep on it." Really, dude? Do you think that you're the only guy whose dick she sucked? Come on here. And by the way, obviously his you-know-what was somewhere else in her. You weren't the only one that got the backdoor action, her smelly ass. This is when, between my jet lag and general frustration with the trip, I made a few comments that offended her family. What, like flush the fucking toilet? You see, they were eating all kinds of terrible, weird food for Christmas. And I had sat out for like 2 days prior as they were preparing. We're talking eggs with mayonnaise, fermented fish, and all the rest of it. So the only thing I ate was kielbasa sausage. It was basically like the only thing you could eat there without getting the runs. Agata's mom noticed and joked saying, "Oh, I see you like our kielbasa. It's all you eat." And I was like, "Yeah, apparently I had that in common with your daughter." The mom didn't understand what it meant, but Agata did. And she made a huge scene, stormed out of the room crying again, and it was obvious to everyone that we weren't getting along. Bro, all this is the universe, God, somebody's showing you this isn't going to work. So I told Agata I was sorry for my insensitivity, that I wanted her to enjoy the little time she had with her family, but that I needed some space. So I packed up and caught a train to Krakow to go stay at the hostel where we met for old time's sake. Okay, so this wasn't in Krakow, you were out in the country somewhere. Well, not proud of what I did next, but as a man of morals and integrity, I'll be fully transparent. I went to the club for a lap dance, one thing led to another, and in my drunken stupor, I ended up having unprotected you-know-what with a stripper. Smack, smack, smack. And maybe I should hit you with a baseball bat like I should have earlier. Dude. Unprotected? Really? You want to catch something? You're not the only guy the strippers do unprotected with. Oh my God. And yeah, not cool. Technically, you're still engaged. I didn't even pull out SSM. In other words, the trip was a real disaster for my relationship, and I'm a little scared that I caught something. You know what? If you caught something, that's your fault, and that's on you, because you're a fucking dumbass. You're a dumbass the first time by getting involved with this chick and proposing her, bringing her back to the U.S., and all that, and now you're unprotected, and you freaking did your load in the stripper. The fuck, man? Again, you watch my channel, but again, all rationale goes out the door when there's some pussy in your face. Now, I'm not very good with secrets, so when we got back to America, I confessed my transgression to Agata. She was distraught, started crying, and then told me she also had a confession to make. She had been blowing one of the cashiers from work out in his parked car during her break. Those trips to Walmart, huh? I freaked out when I heard this because I also noticed the guy was texting her all the time. So she started crying again, explained that the guy had learned a few phrases in her native language and that he made her so aroused that she couldn't resist. Oh, well, okay then. That's all right. So, guys, if you see a foreign chick in Walmart, all you have to do is learn some good basic phrases in her language, say it with some suave in your voice, and you're going to get a BJ in the parking lot of Walmart, or maybe Target, or Costco even. What a load of crap. Well, you're both a bunch of fucking assholes and dumbasses. In a way, you're perfect for each other. Well, I told her to pack her shit and get the fuck out of my house. But she just looked at me and said, okay, but you sponsored me to come to America, so I don't have to go anywhere. Aha! Yeah, you got that problem. The worst part is that she is legally correct, but even so, she brought her stuff to the car. I dropped her off at the Walmart parking lot where she belongs, and told her to have a good life, along with a few other very nasty slurs that I'm not proud of. Well, yeah, she was sucking that guy, and I'm sure he got a taste of her caboose too. Up the Hershey Highway, probably in the bathroom of Walmart, or in the storage room of Walmart. Now anybody's going to Walmart today is going to be looking around for any Polish chicks. I don't know where you live, but some Walmart here in the United States, there's that young Polish hottie. Watch out for her and her big tits. But if you want a Hummer in the parking lot, play your cards right. Oh my God. Well, that's my story. Now we have to wait to see if the U.S. government holds up on this part of the deal and sponsors her, since I did sign all those papers. I'm just hoping that since I didn't marry her, I'll be off the hook. Anyway, let that be a warning to any aspiring passport bros. Europe is fun for a little action, but you should never take those trashy girls home. I'd love to hear some of your feedback on the situation, and we'll let you know if there are any updates. Dude, there's going to be updates. Well, here's the biggest thing here, man. I don't know about the whole process. I'm not going to lie to you about that, but I do know if you're sponsoring somebody, you're responsible for them. So I think it's time for you to visit an attorney's office. Since you're still a student, I believe you said, I'm assuming like a master's degree or something like that, you probably have a lot of money. I talked to your parents. Say, Mom and Dad, I screwed up. I'm in deep shit. What can you advise in regards to know any lawyers that can help you and advise you properly in this situation? Again, I don't know how this works, but I am aware that, you bring somebody in this country, you sponsor them, so you're responsible for some things. What that entails, I don't know. And I'd find out, because you could be up shit creek without a paddle. I mean, you've been up the shit creek up your girl's butt for all this time. Well, now you're up another shit creek here. So, good luck to you. But in the future, my man, let up the brain up here, the head up here, do your thinking. Particularly with women. And I don't care how beautiful a girl is, how great her rack is, eventually that beauty's going to fade. Those boobs are going to sag. Amongst many other things, she's going to get a gut. She's going to get a big ass. Her ass is going to hang. There's going to be cellulite. I can go on and on and on. The physical beauty does not last forever. So she's got to have a lot of other good qualities. And I get it. We all age. Men age too. I've aged. Okay? But here's the thing. So you're going to get serious with a girl and marry her. On top of many things, like giving a lot of time to get to know her, she better have a darn good personality and good qualities and all that, because, again, looks fade over time. End of fucking story here. But hopefully you learned. But this, again, reinforces, guys, let this do all your thinking here. Big boobs and stuff like that, that's great for hookups. If you just went to Poland, met her, charmed her socks off, had fun with her, got an amazing BJ and got to look at those big tits, and left it at that, I'd be high-fiving you now, saying good for you. Hope you wore protection with the other girls you're with. But no, you had to freak out and propose to her by text and bring her back to the USA, for God's sakes. But, bro, wish you the best. And next time when you listen to my stories, let them really sink in. So, guys, there you go. So, anyhow, we shall see if there's an update. If you want to hear an update about what goes on with her and the issues with the government and all that, let the guy know in the comments section, and I guarantee he'll write it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below and let me know what you think about this. Give this guy your 2 cents and a verbal smacking for being such a bonehead. But, we're learning something here. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.